President Donald Trump has responded to the intense criticism that he has received from cattle ranchers who voted overwhelmingly for him, by the way, over his plan to buy more beef from Argentina. So that plan is like, well, I got to do something to lower the price of beef, so I'm just going to help out my friend Javier Milei in Argentina by buying a whole bunch of beef from them. You know, after we, of course, pretty much gave away our soybean exports to Argentina as well. So there you go. Now, taking to, of course, Truth Social, because
Truth Central.
He wrote that the ranchers, are basically too stupid to understand my brilliant 3D chess moves on trade. Here's what he wrote. The cattle ranchers, who I love, don't understand that the only reason they're doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on cattle coming into the United States, including a 50% tariff on Brazil. Actually, the reason that he put a 50% tariff on Brazil is because they actually did lock up their coup-plotting former president. Just saying. Just saying. But the other part is, cattle ranchers, they're not doing well. That's kind of the whole problem. They're doing very, very poorly, okay? I'm going to get into why. But first, he said, if it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done for the past 20 years. Terrible. It would be nice if they would understand that. What? Why haven't you thanked me yet? Why haven't you thanked me for all the things that I've done for you? I haven't heard a thank you. Oh my God. It would be nice if they understood that, but they also have to get their prices down. Because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking. Also, okay, here's the thing. Cattle ranchers are not doing well, and yes, they haven't been doing well for some time. Look, currently we are at very, very thin herds, okay? NPR reported recently that America's beef cattle herd is actually the smallest that it's been in 75 years. So, yeah, those small herds, that's going to raise the price of beef, okay? And why are the herds so thin? Why? Well, there's a lot of different factors. One of them is drought, okay? Yeah, we've been experiencing drought. And look, anyone who's raised cattle or is familiar with, what it takes to raise cattle knows that the herds consume tons of water. Approximately a gallon per 100 pounds, okay? And that's in cold weather. When it's hot, basically you would double that, okay? So 2 gallons per 100 pounds, okay? So yes, we've had a lot of hot days, okay? We've had a lot of hot days. In fact, the days just keep getting hotter because the climate is warming. Yes, and that's actually part of this reason, okay? So part of the reason that herds are so small is because of the drought, which is driven by climate change, and climate change, of course, makes it that it's hotter so that they consume more water, and there's less of that because of the drought and the climate change. All this is related, okay? Now, there's also the increased costs of feeding the cattle, and you also have reduced land for grazing, again, exacerbated by climate change. Oops. So this is all why U.S. herds are now at record lows and why beef prices are at record highs. And unfortunately, they're going to stay that way for the foreseeable future. That sucks because I really do like beef, okay? Now, look, it would take, even if we were to fix all these issues, right? Somehow, it would still take a while for beef prices to go back down because you would have to repopulate the herds, okay? And so that's one of the issues here, okay? You've got to repopulate those herds, and you would have to solve the increased prices of feed, and then, of course, grazing, and then solve the droughts, and et cetera, right? Now, Trump, however, doesn't know anything about anything. Okay? He's just sitting there like, why aren't the ranchers thanking me for everything I've done for them? They're too stupid to understand my genius plan. The plan to help out your buddy Javier Milei, who also, again, is benefiting from the soybeans that American farmers used to supply to China. So I don't know. I think it feels like MAGA should now be standing for Make Argentina Great Again, because we also sent them about $40 billion in bailout money. Okay? I know, credit swaps or whatever. All right? No, it's a bailout. It's a bailout. And so, yes, look, the National Farmers Union said that Trump's tariffs on soybeans, okay, have sent China into the arms of Argentina, which again had already received a massive bailout from our government. The last thing we need, they said, is to reward them by importing more of their beef. Exactly. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association also slammed Donald Trump's plan on Monday, pointing out that in the last 5 years, Argentina has actually sold more than $801 million worth of beef into the U.S. market, compared to more than $7 million that American cattle ranchers had sold to the Latin American nation. And Farm Action, an agricultural watchdog group, called the plan a betrayal of the American rancher, lamenting that after crashing the soybean market and gifting Argentina our largest export buyer, which is China, Trump is now poised to do the same to the cattle market.
Whoopsie.
Oh, would you look at that? Is Trump screwing things up? Wow. Oh, I had no idea that was going to happen. It's not like I sat there for the last couple of years warning people, hey, don't vote for Donald Trump because he's a moron and he's going to screw things up. That's what's going to happen if you vote for him again. And well, now the ranchers and the farmers and MAGA, they're all having the day that they voted for. Well, congratulations. All right. Now, look, here's the thing. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that Donald Trump's move to buy more beef is not going to help really lower the price all that much. Okay. It also wouldn't give American ranchers any sort of benefit whatsoever. And they cannot just lower the price of beef, because these ranchers will go out of business if they do. You see, there's this little thing called supply and demand, which is the most fundamental part of economics. It's economics, literally 101, okay? That's the first one. So currently, the supply of cattle in the United States is pretty low, while demand for beef is pretty high. That means we're going to have high prices, and that sucks. Yeah, but wouldn't importing more beef then help us? Marginally, okay? So now what Trump could do to help ease the pain to American families while also helping out the ranchers would be to, subsidize beef. You could do that, right? Basically, you give people like some extra money to buy it, or a beef coupon or something that could maybe offset the cost for American families, okay? Which would help people be able to afford to keep buying it, but it would also make sure the ranchers still get paid enough, because again, you have the cost of feed, right? That has risen pretty highly, and all the other factors that I had previously mentioned. You could do that, but Trump won't, because that's something socialism, okay? And we don't do that here, okay? So at the end of the day, his plan to buy more Argentina, beef from Argentina, basically would just shank the American rancher while helping out Javier Milei, who his own policies had crashed his economy, okay? And so people are looking at that plan and going, that sucks. Well, we do not like this at all, okay? Even the most devoted MAGA chuds are like, this kind of sucks. Right-wing commentator Tommy Lauren, for example, called the move a quote-unquote disgrace and is stabbing the back to the ranchers. In a post on X, Meriwether Farms, a beef producer in Wyoming, that touted their love for Donald Trump warned that Trump was, quote, betraying the very people who put food on the table for us. Well, there you go. What do you expect from a man who went bankrupt 6 times? When are people going to realize that Donald Trump is not a business genius? He has no idea what he's talking about. The man is just a loudmouth marketer, okay? That's all he's really good at is just marketing, convincing idiots to part with their money and apparently their votes. That's how he made his money, okay? After getting a giant inheritance from his dad, okay? The man doesn't really build anything. He's not a builder. All he knows how to do is leverage his name because he is nothing more than a brand that is now completely destroying our country. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe with the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.